Aloha, and welcome to this brief tutorial on organization for online course success. If you're taking a course on campus, oftentimes you're meeting with your instructor and other students in class, usually at least once a week. And in this same sort of traditional environment, you're going to often be reminded multiple times about when an assignment is due. In an online environment, however, it's really up to you to remind yourself. Sometimes professors will send out friendly emails reminding students of assignments, but other times they won't. Luckily, there's a lot of tools to help you to get started with organizing and knowing when your assignments are due. But first, it's important to know how to get organized, and so we're going to be talking a little bit more about organization today. Online courses have a lot of different formats than traditional on-campus courses, and so it's really important to get organized, and you might have to become organized differently in an online course versus a face-to-face class. Organize your environment is an important component to success in an online class. We're going to talk a little bit more about physical space and why it's so important that you can take control of your physical space. We're also going to be looking at productivity and organizing your course materials to make sure that you're being the most productive that you can be. And lastly, we're going to take a look at setup and developing a scheduling system that will help you turn in all of your coursework on time. You know, everyone's preferences are different, but once you kind of get through some of these pages, I hope that you will be able to come to a place where you can prioritize and concentrate on your schoolwork. So, the first is I want to ask you when you are most productive. You can go ahead and pause the video here and take some time if you need to think about when you are most productive. Is it in the mornings, afternoons, evenings, the middle of the night? You decide. All right, now that you know a little bit more about when you're most productive, the second question is, where should you study? Or in other words, what's the best place that you can study in? Go ahead and pause the video here and take some time to think about that. And lastly, number 3, what conditions help you concentrate? Again, thinking about the environment. Do you need an environment that's loud and noisy? Do you need an environment where music is playing? Or maybe do you need an environment that is absolutely quiet and still? Pause the video and take some time to think about the conditions that best help you to concentrate. All right, so now that you know a little bit about your own studying techniques or the aspects that help you best study, let's move on to some tips. Tip number 1, Wi-Fi. Know where to connect to free Wi-Fi. Now, there's a couple important aspects of Wi-Fi. Number 1, it's important to identify several places with free wireless internet. That way, if one network is gone down, you'll have an alternative location for getting assignments in on time. This doesn't only go for wireless either, though. Electrical outlets can become a real hot real estate if others have the same idea as you. So if you're not planning on giving up a location for a long time, be aware of the availability of electrical outlets. The last thing you want is for your device to die in the middle of a study session or while you're typing out your essay. Just as a quick tip, the UH West Oahu Library has free Wi-Fi to students, and in fact, our entire campus has free Wi-Fi for students. However, if you can't make it to campus, there are many different coffee shops on the island that offer free Wi-Fi. All right, so let's move into tip number 2. Keep track of your work and other responsibilities. Know your constraints. Is your employer okay with you studying at work during lunch and on breaks? Or can you use your work computer for your classes? Always ask and never assume. You don't want to step on your employer's toes or paint yourself into a corner with your schoolwork by pressuring or presuming that it's fine with your employer to do work on the clock or on your break. So let's talk for a moment here about creating an organizational style for your classes or your class. An element to online course success is to organize your course materials. Now, you may prefer working with hard copies that you can print out and write on, or you may appreciate the ease and flexibility that comes with working digitally. Just do whatever works best for you. Most students actually like a combination of both, depending on the course or a given assignment. But both require you to set up a reliable and convenient system so that you can stay on top of your work. If you like to work with hard or printed copies, find a place where you can keep all of your school materials, whether that's a book, notes, assignment binder, or a calendar. I think it's also helpful to keep a stash of basic office supplies like pens, highlighters, paper, maybe a stapler, binders, folders, index cards, or other study aids you might need. Who doesn't enjoy shopping for school supplies? Supplies appear one by one piling up in front of people sometimes at stores. So check out a local store and see if you can find some school supplies at a discounted rate. The next is creating an organizational style. When we talk about creating an organizational style, we talk about the internet, and that's a really helpful tool. A quick Google search or a few minutes maybe on Pinterest can give you some really helpful ideas and tips on how to make a practical task like organization exciting and maybe, dare we say, enjoyable. If, on the other hand, you prefer the ease and convenience that comes with electric or digital systems, you can still have many options to help you organize your materials. Again, you'll still want a place where you can store and find your materials. So you should think about what device you want to keep your materials on, or where you want to store your backups. If you're saving your files on different devices, you may spend a lot of time trying to locate a particular document, and you can avoid this by creating an electronic system that works for you. Some electrical systems are cloud-based systems, and one of my personal favorites is Google Drive. You can easily organize folders and upload assignments or essays or the like onto your Google Drive. All right, so speaking of Google Drive, my tip number 3 is you want to use Google Drive. It's a great and free cloud-based system offered to you by the University of Hawaii, and it has a lot of storage. Actually, it practically has an unlimited amount of storage, and it's very compatible. It works on just about all computers and pretty much all browsers. So check it out. Take advantage of this free resource. Okay, and helpful tip number 4 is use descriptive names when saving your files so you can easily find them when you need them. So here's an example. Say I'm working on a research paper for my English 100 course. I might title my document Ing 100 period research period paper. So it's very clear that the document should be my research paper for English 100. Tip number 5 is keep a backup of your files, and I cannot emphasize this enough. You should always keep at least one backup file for each and every one of the documents that you create and store them in different places where they are usually pretty accessible to you. So let's say, for example, you save a Word document on your personal laptop. You're also going to want to upload or attach that document to either a flash drive or your email or Google Drive. Just make sure that that file is saved in multiple different locations because you never know when an external hard drive will kind of, knock on wood, crash, and you want to make sure that you don't lose all your work. I think it's really important also to organize your time. You're really going to want to organize your time because when you sign up for an online class, these courses can move quickly, even though you're taking a 16-week course. After you sign up for an online class and you jump into your Laulima page or whatever learning management system your professor is using, you really want to read the syllabus thoroughly and familiarize yourself with the class requirements and assignment due dates. Make sure to write these due dates down immediately. It's really going to help you to get an idea of what the rest of your term is going to look like and how the courses will be paced. And above all, it will help you make sure that you don't have any surprises midway through the term. You won't want to realize that your big first essay is due the day before midterm, when it's too late to get either assignment done on time. All right, tip number 6 is to create a calendar. Creating a calendar and filling out as soon as you receive your syllabus and update it constantly is a must during the semester, and especially for online students. I recommend using Google Calendar or iCalendar or another cloud-based system that you can check from any of your devices, whether it's a laptop or your mobile phone, and set up notifications for each assignment, especially when it's due. Or you might find a system that works best for you, like an old-fashioned day-to-day planner or a wall calendar. Tip number 7, work on manageable pieces. I really like this tip a lot because I utilize this strategy quite a bit in my courses. If you prefer to break an assignment into manageable pieces, which I definitely recommend, you should schedule them accordingly. This can be tremendously helpful because it will give you milestones that will allow you to monitor your progress incrementally. So say I have an essay in 2 weeks. Maybe I'll say for the next 3 days, I'm going to work on starting my essay. And then the next 3 days after that, I'm going to work on creating paragraphs. And then maybe the next 2 days, I'm going to work on building a conclusion. And the last day, I'm going to work on revision. That's how you can pretty much set up all of your assignments into manageable pieces. Okay, and our last tip, looks like I've skipped a couple, but our last tip is tip number 10, which, psych, it should be tip number 8. But anyways, use an alert. Use a reminder or an alert feature built into an online calendar in order to help you keep track of very important assignments and due dates. All right, so now that you've completed this brief tutorial on your organizational success, I hope that this helps to give you a better idea of how to be consistent in your study habits and really try to best organize in a way that suits your needs and keeps you on track. I believe in you. I think that you can totally do this. And be sure, if you need any help, to contact the Noya Center.